Oh my God, look at this.
What?
We have a call in here, which might answer a lot of questions. Dave Payne.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Go
Let's see
ahead.
let's see if you can get this real quick.
Okay.
Hello, good sir.
What's happening?
What up? Can you guys hear him? I have you pointing towards the microphone because we're doing the show live now.
I know you are.
Are you-
I just touched down in LA and I heard there's some Savannah wars.
Yeah, we need some clarity on this, and okay, so I'll preface this again real quick to you because you probably didn't hear it. Shooty emailed us yesterday with a picture, and I think it was of him. We think it's him doing a Savannah at Hubba Hideout, and he said, "Ask Dave Payne about it." So that's what made me reach out to you. I don't know if you were there for this session. I don't even know the picture we're talking about, but do you have any insight on the birth of Savannah or like Alley Unity or whatever?
Well, what do you want? What do you want to start with? The origin story of the Savannah?
I guess that's what it's about. Like, we're trying to decipher Savannahs and alley unities and stuff, so we're trying to figure out where the name came from.
One of the most fun debates in rollerblading as far as trick vocabulary.
Yes,
and
exactly.
the origins.
Yes,
'Cause,
exactly.
You know, at the end of the day, before we start, it's like whatever carries the streets carries the name, right? So I'll just give you my version of the origin story, but I love the debate.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, yeah, this was during the famous Unity time when, famous photos, Daily Bread, John doing the frontside Unity down the handrail. On the same trip, we went up to go film with John for the first time in NorCal with Star and Julio. They were doing the Unities, and we were joking around. On my Jump Street podcast, we did the whole joke about they were calling it Kablau and ended up being Unity when John finally came down. But during that area, we went up to San Francisco. We were filming with Jason Marshall for the first time. Julio was there. Marshall and I were trying, because Unities were coming out. I always wanted to try the alley version of the frontside Unity, so him and I were messing around these lower ledges at Embarcadero. It's actually in VG4 but that's when I 360'd Embarcadero and Jason zeroed it. It was that same session we were messing around with, which became to be known as Savannah. I came down to OC, started doing it with Randy and Vitor and the 714 crew, and Vitor named it Savannah.
So named which Savannah?
Named the alley Unity Savannah?
Well, no. It wasn't called, we said it was alley Unity, but the trick is called a Savannah, plain and simple.
The backside or the front side?
Backside or front side?
No, well, you're going up to the ledge and you spin alley 270 and you land in backside Unity, but you're going alley.
So the 270 backside alley Unity is called Savannah?
Correct.
Okay. That's what we're talking about.
And then what got muddied is when the alley-oop backside Unity, where your foot comes around your back, you're jumping up to a ledge backside, and you're going alley-oop backside Unity on the rail, and people start calling those Savannahs.
Well, I think people are calling like the front side alley Unity Savannahs.
Yeah. Well, again,
they're both, I guess. One's backside Savannah, one's frontside Savannah.
That's why it's such a great topic, because there's generations are kind of incarnated different names, and it's gotten muddied, and there's people on both sides of it, which makes it fun.
So the original is 270 backside alley Unity is a Savannah.
It's real. I think it's alley-oop 270 because you're looking at it, you're going alley-oop. It's really, alley-oop 180, and then you're going a little bit further, but your feet are going to backside Unity. Like, if you were going forward, it'd be backside Unity, but you're landing alley-oop, so you're going backwards.
Yeah.
That's the Savannah. And then, I think John Glenn was the first one in Video Groove, did down a handrail.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
G's version of the Savannah.
We appreciate you calling in because
I try to be brief and right to it.
maybe we'll do a whole video with you on these because you were around for a lot of the beginning stuff. But dude, we appreciate it. Calling in.
I'll see you in NYC soon. Okay.
I'll see you. We'll see you in a few
2
weeks.
weeks. Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're coming, bro?
Billy didn't know you were coming.
Hey,
it's lit.
Thanks for the check-in. I love you guys. I'm gonna see you soon in person.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks, Dave. Talk to you soon.
PG for life. Peace out.
Later. All right.
Okay, so I just want to clarify one thing before we move on from this topic. And thank you, Dave, for calling during the podcast. It's rare when we have those interactions on the podcast on the phone so sporadically, but that was perfect timing and awesome. So I just want to talk about real quick. That's my understanding of what it is. That's exactly how I learned it. Front side was always Alley Unity, and 270 backside was Savannah. And then, like you said, it got muddy when it came to the true spin backside alley version, which is like close to the TTP, the same position, but in the backside alley Unity or the back Savannah or the Savannah position. That being said, I feel the same way, like how I feel about what I said about the Caballero thing. Like, despite the intention of the original name for the trick and what it was originally called, sometimes things can evolve. And if through like whatever the culture or popularity of terms, people start to think alley-oop unity makes no sense or things like that, and then that becomes front Savannah and back Savannah, I don't see the problem. So for me,
But it's
my name is Paul.
It's good to know the history of these things. I'm just saying, like, to hear from somebody who was there when it was like first coined the name. It's cool to hear those stories and to hear that they're legit, you know?
Yeah, I honestly think that this topic is so controversial that even someone could come up and be like, I invented these terms, and then people would still be like, no, it's this. So we're just going to let that rock, and it's going to be its own thing, and leave it up to you.
We're just the messengers here.
One thing I do want to talk about, since we're on the subject of names, is I would be missing an opportunity to talk about the really strange nature of some of our names. I feel like when we started off in the beginning of rollerblading, we had a good grip on names that made sense, you know? Soul grind, done on the sole of the boot. Front side, done on the front side. Royale is interesting and doesn't make sense, but I like it because it fits well. Backslide is obviously something that makes sense. Fast slide is obviously something that makes sense. Macchio, to name after the person who did the trick Macchio. Mizu, is it even either named after the person or a word in Japanese where the trick
I think
was originating.
Someone did it smooth. I think that's what Angie said. Someone did it like super smooth, like water in Japan, so they called it Mizu.
Okay. So there's these like attachments to the name. What I thought was really freaking cool when I was 11 and 12, and what I think is like a really stupid now, is the Fishbrain and Pornstar names. Like, I appreciate the people who invented those names. Fishbrain, I believe, was it Tom Fry that invented Fishbrain? Pornstar, I still don't know the culprit for that. If you can put it in the chat, if anyone has the information, please share. But can I curse on this podcast?
What do you mean, can you curse? When do I not curse on the podcast?
But you really fucked us on that name. Whoever did it, I don't know who you are, but you really fucked us, because that name created all these freaking problems. Like I said, when I was 11, I was like, oh yeah, porn star, cool. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like talking to like my nieces, and they're 10, and they're like, what's that trick called? I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's, I just wish we would have continued, or the people who were in that position at that time, they would just continue down associating the names either to the people who created the trick and like a play on their name, or a play on their nickname, or a play on like something like that, or like the sensible foot positions in which tricks are done, and how that all collaborates and makes sense. I personally, as an adult in my late 30s, like I wish we could have gone a different way. Some people are like, what are you talking about? I think that's fun. I think it's cool. That's cool. I think it's like random. And I just wish we would have kind of stuck to how it was going when it was first being created. I don't know. Do you find there to be a problem with that, or do you think it's arbitrary?
Oh, I definitely think it's weird. I remember I started skating when I was 8 years old. So we're talking about now. I think the main problem with it, yes, it is like a bit like provocative, whatever. But I think it's mainly for the kids, like to teach a kid growing up skating that something's called a porn star. It doesn't really make sense. It's inappropriate. I was that kid when I started skating at 8 years old, learning how to do a porn star at 9 years old. I had no idea. I don't know if I even knew what a porn star actually was back then, like the actual term. Wow. But I definitely
and that's how early you came into that term. You first heard it in blading before anything else.
Exactly. I knew it as a skating trick before I knew what a porn star actually was. And I remember watching the NIS on TV. That's amazing. Yeah, I remember watching like NIS or something like that on TV when they were at the Seaport in New York. I was watching it in the morning, and it was on the news, and somebody was being interviewed as someone was skating the vert ramp, and they're like, "Oh, walk us through these tricks or whatever." And they're like, "Okay, he's doing like a method air, he's doing like a soul grind. That one's called a porn star." And I remember the person interviewing on TV was like, "That's called a what?" And I remember like they cut out like right away after that. And
No.
like they had to like fumble with it. I remember the interview was like a little like awkward about like what was going on, like was she being trolled or is this for real? And I remember like it was a super awkward, sketchy situation on TV. So it makes sense that obviously it's not good for the mainstream to have a trick called porn star. That being said, I'm so used to calling it a porn star that it's just become second nature. When I say it at the skate park, I forget what I'm even saying. And there's kids around and like people have their kids or whatever. And it's just second nature to say it. And it's funny because we don't even say porn star a lot of the times. For short, we just call it porn, like true alley porn, true top porn, like, and that's funny that that's the part of the word that stuck was the porn part, not the star part. It's just so second nature for so many of us growing up with these terms that this is what it is. And people like keep saying in the chat that Phil Riley invented the name or coined the name. I don't know the story behind it exactly, but it is a very weird, obscure name. People are trying to change it now to like superstars or P-Star or just like star grinds.
I don't like those names.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's hard for me to get used to saying that. I don't think I've ever said any of those names. It's a little cringy when I hear that, but I understand. Cringy. I understand completely.
I get it. Like, okay,
when we say porn star, you know.
I know exactly. So it's cringy for them, and you know what? Like a lot of them, like have people our age have kids. Like their kids are skating. They're 5 and 6 years old, and 8 and 10, and telling their kids like it's a porn star. Like, you know what I mean? It's probably like something I wouldn't want to do. Like I wouldn't want to do it with my nieces and stuff like that. So it's tough. I don't know. I wish it was something simple like pretzel. Like, you know what I mean? I'm
going to put it in the chat now to see how many people are against it or for the term porn star. Yeah, I do agree that it's not an appropriate name for getting newcomers into the sport. I also personally don't like star, superstar, whatever star. Like it seems
superstar
weird.
Is horrible. I'm sorry. Okay, if you want to say star, I get it, and I could rock with that. Superstar is like, do we need another thing against us? Like, you know what I mean? Do we need to go there?
Call it a movie
I don't
star.
think so.
Call it a movie star. I don't know, but there's
movie star.
Maybe, I'm a low key like astronomy nerd. Maybe we could find a cool star in the solar system and name the trick after that, so that we don't have to say star grind.
It's called a True Spin X9347571 Alpha B.
Like, did Elon Musk name that? What's going on right now?